Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashvatar Shata Shri Shri Ma Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananti Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Praise to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srila Sati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyama Sundar Radha Kunagiri Govardhana ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mathura Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Yamuna Maya ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Krishna Dev ki time do they usually leave them by? Late?
I made custom eating. Latest. It's 7 o'clock when they 7:15 when they open the beauty, so probably leave by 7 o'clock.
And then how do they make them?
Morning tie, the small morning tie,
2 small proteins, 1
and
sugar.
the sugar day.
So 5.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
yeah, I appreciate it. We do a reading class tonight.
2 big orders and 2 small orders.
Yeah, read that tonight.
Starting with the introduction prayers on page 1. Om Gyanam Tamidandasya Gyanam Janashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Smatalantikam Andeyam Shri Guru Shri Tattva Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Vijanam Skritam Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Palam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitasha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrindavana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripe Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I don't know where we left off at.
Chapter 9.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. I'm on chapter 9, text 14.
14.
Yeah.
Sound about right? Yeah.
Okay. Sadatam Kirtayantam Mam Yadantascha Vidhadatam Manashyantascha Mahabhaktya Nityayutta Upasate. Translation. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Yana Yakina Shakti Anye Yajantalam Upashate Ikatena Pritatena Adu Vishvato Rukam. Translation. Others who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as one without second, diverse in many, and in the universal form.
Ham Pratar Ham Jagya Sadaham Ham Ashuram Ankaham Vivajam Aham Agnir Aham Bhutam. Translation. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering.
Pitaham asya jagato mata data pitamaha vidyam pavitram omkara riksama yaju evacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rik, the Sama, and the Yajur Vedas.
Text 18. Katir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Surit Prabhava Pralayasthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. Translation. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed.
Text 19. Tapami aham varsham nigaran me ushyajami cha amitam chaiva mityascha sarashat chaham Arjuna. Translation. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain, and the drought. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me.
Text 20. Trividya mam samapa pitapapa jagdarisvar sagatam pratyante te punyam ascendra srendalokam asnami divyam divideva bogan. Translation. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights.
Text 21. Te tam bhuktva svargalokam vishalam shine punye martyalokam vishanti evam trayi dharmam anuprapana kathagatam kama kama labante. Translation: When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness.
Text 22. Ananyas chintayanto mang ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktana yogashemang vahamyam. Translation: But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have.
Text 23. Ye api anya devata bhakta yajante sradaya yantvita tepi mam eva kanteya yajante aviti pruvakam. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but is offered without true understanding.
Text 24. Ahami sarva jaganam bhakta cha babreva cha natamam abhijananti tatvainatas chavanti te. Translation: I am the only enjoyer and the only object of sacrifice. Those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down.
Text 25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitra vrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajinopimam. Translation: Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me.
Text 14. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Purport: The Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name, his eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastimes. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmajyoti, is not described as Mahatma in the Bhagavad Gita. He is described in a different way in the next verse. The Mahatma is always engaged in different activities of devotional service. As described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting about Vishnu, not a demigod or human being. That is devotion. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam. And remembering him. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any one of the 5 transcendental rasas. To achieve that success, he engages all activities, mental, bodily, and vocal, everything, in the service of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. That is called full Krishna consciousness. In devotional service, there are certain activities which are called determined, such as fasting on certain days, like the 11th day of the moon, Ekadashi, and on the appearance day of the Lord, etc. All these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas for those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. The Mahatmas, great souls, strictly observe all these rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired result. As described in the second verse of this chapter, this devotional service is not only easy, but it can be performed in a happy mode. One does not need to undergo any severe penance and austerity. He can live this life in devotional service, guided by an expert spiritual master, and in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari, in any position and anywhere in the world, he can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become an actually Mahatma, a great soul.
Text 15, translation. Others who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, diverse in many, and in the universal form. Purport. This verse is the summary of the previous verses. Lord tells Arjuna that those who are purely in Krishna consciousness and do not know anything other than Krishna are called Mahatmas. Yet there are other persons who are not exactly in the position of Mahatma, but who worship Krishna also in different ways. Some of them are already described as distressed, the financially destitute, the inquisitive, and those who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. But there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into three. He worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. 2, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. 3, he who accepts the universal form, the Vishvarupa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worships that. Above the three, the lowest, those who worship themselves as the Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be the Manyas, are the most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality, they worship themselves. This is also a type of God worship where they can understand what they are not the material body, but are actually spiritual soul. At least such a sense is prominent. Generally, the impersonalist worship of the Supreme Lord in this way. The second class includes the worshippers of the demigods, those by the imagination consider any form who cannot conceive any form. Any form. Punitai ki jai. Consider any form to be the form of the Supreme Lord. And the third class includes those who cannot conceive of anything beyond the manifestation of this material universe. They consider the universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also a form of that of the Lord.
Text 16. Aham kratur aham yagya sadaham ausadam mantaham mevajam aham agnir aham hutam. Translation. But it is I who am the ritual, I, the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Report. The sacrifice known as Jyotishtoma is also Krishna, and he is also the Mahayagya. The oblations offered to the Pitri-loka. Pitri-loka means the planet of the ancestors. Purport again. Or the sacrifice performed to please the Pitri-loka, considered as a kind of drug in the form of clarified butter, is also Krishna. The mantras chanted in this connection are also Krishna, and many other commodities made with milk products for offering in the sacrifices are also Krishna. The fire is also Krishna because fire is one of the 5 material elements and is therefore claimed as a separated energy of Krishna. In other words, The Vedic sacrifices recommended in the Karmakanda division of the Vedas are in total also Krishna, or in other words, those who are engaged in rendering devotional service unto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas.
Text 17. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rik, the Sama, and the Yajurvedas. Purport. The entire cosmic manifestations, moving and non-moving, are manifested by different activities of Krishna's energy. In the material existence, we create different relationships with different living entities who are nothing but Krishna's marginal energy. But under the creation of Prakriti, some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, etc. But actually, they are parts and parcels of Krishna. As such, these living entities who appear to be our father, mother, etc., are nothing but Krishna. In this verse, the word Datta means creator. Not only are our father and mother parts and parcels of Krishna, but their creator, grandmother, and grandfather, etc., are also Krishna. Actually, any living entity being part and parcel of Krishna is Krishna. All the Vedas therefore aim only toward Krishna. Whatever we want to know through the Vedas is but a progressive step to understand Krishna. That subject matter which helps us purify our constitutional position is especially Krishna. Similarly, the living entity who is inquisitive to understand all Vedic principles is also part and parcel of Krishna, and as such is also Krishna. In all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called pranava, is a transcendental sound vibration and is also Krishna. And because in all the hymns of the four Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, the pranava or Omkara is very prominent. It is understood to be Krishna.
Text 18. Katir Bharta Prabhu Shakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhit Prabhava Pralaya Snanam Nidhanam Bijamavyayam. Translation. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Purport. Gati means the destination where we want to go, but the ultimate goal is Krishna. Although people do not know it, one who does not know Krishna is misled, and his so-called progressive march is either partial or hallucinatory. There are many who make as their destination different demigods, and by rigid performance of the strict respective methods, they reach different planets known as Chandraloka, Suryaloka, Indraloka, Maharloka, etc. But all such lokas or planets, being creations of Krishna, are simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. Actually, such planets, being the manifestation of Krishna's energy, are also Krishna, but actually they only serve as a step forward for realization of Krishna. To approach the different energies of Krishna is to approach Krishna indirectly. One should directly approach Krishna, for that will save time and energy. For example, if there is a possibility of going to the top of a building by the help of an elevator, why should one go by the staircase, step by step? Everything is resting on Krishna's energy. Therefore, without Krishna's shelter, nothing can exist. Krishna is the supreme ruler because everything belongs to him, and everything exists on his energy. Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, is the supreme witness. The residences, countries, or planets on which we live are also Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate goal of shelter, and as such one should take shelter of Krishna, either for protection or for annihilation of his distressed condition. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force. Thus Krishna is the supreme living entity. Since Krishna is the source of our generation, or the Supreme Father, no one can be a better friend than Krishna, nor can anyone be a better well-wisher. Krishna is the original source of creation, and the ultimate rest after annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes.
Text 19, translation. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain, and the drought. I am immortality, and I'm also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. Purport. Krishna, by his different energies, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us at the end as death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one does not therefore make such distinctions. He sees Krishna only in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestations is also Krishna. His pastimes in Vrindavan as two-handed cheese. Say it again. Sundar, playing on a flute, are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sundar.
Could I make a comment on this verse? So today the materialists and politicians are talking about global warming, and they're trying to control the climate, but they don't recognize that Krishna has his finger on the thermostat. He's controlling the heat, he's controlling the cold, the rain, and the drought. So unless the leaders and intelligent persons of the world recognize Krishna as the supreme controller, all their efforts at controlling nature will be futile. And like Jambavati Sutta Prabhu was formerly in the heating and cooling business, and he knows that electricity can be used both for heating and cooling. So Krishna energies are matter and spirit. Matter and spirit are interchangeable for Krishna. And for Krishna, there's no distinction between matter and spirit because both are his energies.
Text 20. Excuse me. Text 20. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Purport. The word Trividya refers to the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Rig. A Brahmana who has studied these three Vedas is called a Trivedi. Anyone who is very much attached to knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the Trivedis. Actually, Trivedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. Devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra, Chandra, etc. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to the higher planetary system or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, etc. Once situated on those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet.
Text 21. Translation. When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sun's pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. Purport. One who is promoted to those higher planetary systems enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. One is again sent back to this earthly planet upon finishing the resultant fruits of pious activities. He who has not attained perfection of knowledge, as indicated in the Vedanta Sutra, Jamadhyaya Sriyataha, or, in other words, he who fails to understand Krishna, the cause of all causes, becomes baffled in achieving the ultimate goal of life, and is thus subjected to the routine of being promoted to the higher planets, and then again coming down, as if situated on a Ferris wheel, which sometimes goes up and sometimes comes down. The purport is that instead of being elevated to the spiritual world, where there is no longer any possibility of coming down, one simply revolves in the cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary systems. One should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy eternal life full of bliss and knowledge, and never return to this miserable material existence.
Text 22. Translation. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Purport. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshiping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, running others' services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies. Indeed, they make the devotee perfect in self-realization. Then his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality Godhead. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable condition of life.
623. Epanya devata bhakta yajate shandriyam vitaha tepi mame vikante ya yajata vidi purvakam. Translation and purport by His divine grace. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Report. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is done to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as aviti purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. Some comment. When Krishna was only 7 years old in Vrindavan, he found out that his father was offering a sacrifice to Indra, the rain god, because rain is necessary for agricultural activities. And his father Nanda Maharaj explained that this sacrifice is traditional among the Vaishyas, and it should be performed in order to please the officer in charge of the rain, who was King Indra. And Krishna explained that this is not necessary, that if one offers the sacrifice to me, automatically Indra will be satisfied. So to determine that Krishna is the only object of sacrifice, Krishna assumed the form of Govardhan Hill. And Krishna told his father, instead of offering all these nice ingredients of sacrifice to Indra, just offer it to me. Offer me nice halava, puris, samosa, sweet rice, rasgullas, dal, and Indra will automatically be sacrificed. And the sacrifice is a prominent festival among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but it is not prominent among the Hindus, because the Hindus generally believe that all the good gods should be worshipped equally. Every one of them is equally God, whether Indra, Chandra, Brahma. There's so many, 33 million demigods. So Krishna showed by his pastime that all sacrifices should be offered to me. And there was a great festival, Govardhan Puja. And this is still practiced in Vrindavan, India during the rainy season. Thank you.
Text 24. I am the only enjoyer and the only object of sacrifice. Those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Purport. Here it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literatures, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should only work for satisfying yajna, or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization, known as Varnashrama Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the supreme master. However, less intelligent persons, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result.
Text 25. Translation. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. Report. If anyone has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose. These are vividly described in the fruit of activities portion of the Vedas, technically known as Darsha Purnamasi, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pitta planets by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a yaksha, raksha, or pishacha. Pishacha worship is called black arts, or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art, and they think that it is spiritualism, but such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only, achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishnaloka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshipping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitta achieve the Pitta planets, or by practicing the black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live, and because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahmajyoti. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society, to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to Godhead.
Text 26. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Purport. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord, and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what types of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to Supreme Lord, Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then he should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked for. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him. And he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper foods for human beings and are prescribed by the Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. In the third chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and release from the clutches of the material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are said to be eating only sin. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering enables one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues, which will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food, since he already possesses everything that be. Yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation of serving and offering is to act with love for Krishna. The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse in Bhagavad Gita. To them, it is either metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the supreme Godhead, has senses and has stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities in the material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotee's words of love and offering foodstuff is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized because of his absolute position. His hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he is describes only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the supreme absolute truth can eat food and enjoy it.
Jai, one comment. Sometimes the materialist atheist argues that I see the food after it's offered to Krishna. I see the plate is still full, so Krishna is not eating it. Food is still there. Krishna is not eating anything. But this fool does not know that Krishna can eat with his ears simply by hearing the prayers of the bhakta and love and devotion. Krishna can accept things with any sense, as stated in Brahma Samhita. Gandha yasya sakalan ritimanti. One sense can perform the activities of all other senses. Krishna can impregnate with his eyes. So Krishna can do anything with any one of his senses. This is the wonderful characteristic of Krishna, the Supreme Lord. My turn. Yat kadosi yad ashnasi yat shahosi tadasi yat tapasyasi kantaya tat kurishva madarpanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Prabhupada. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Purport. Thus, it is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together, and Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live, and therefore he should accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. And civilized man has to perform some religious ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore, Krishna recommends, do it for me. And this is called archana. Everyone has tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering the Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra around his beads, he is certainly the greatest yogi, as substantiated by the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Does anyone here know that famous verse in the 6th chapter? Right, could you say it?
Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmanam Shadavam bhajate mam yuk something yuktatama mataha.
Bhagavad Gita ki jai.